This tutorial is for the assembly of your torch, LED torch. What you're going to need for this assembly is a strip of solid core wire there, the plastic vision panel, the 4 pieces of your LED torch, 4 machine screws, they're M312s, so they're called M312, let's write that down, M, if I can write backwards, 3 12s. That was pretty good for writing upside down and backwards. So that's what you need, M312s. I said solid core wire, your circuit board that you've made here, a needle file, a flathead screwdriver for the screws, a countersink, long nose pliers, tensile adhesive and some masking tape. Move some of these away so we can see what we're doing. Initially, first things first, we'll get the clear vision panel and put it into the square piece, and then that's where the tensile glue comes from. We just make sure that it's ready to use, and we just run it along the edge there so it goes down inside. Now be careful, some colours will run into the vision panel, so just be careful when you do that. Let's move that to one side so it's out of the glued area and let that dry. It will take about 15 minutes to dry. Now the next thing you need is this, which is the countersink and the piece with the single square in it. Okay. You need to turn it upside down, put it hard on the table, flat on the table, and then push down hard and twist backwards and forwards. Okay. You'll see that you'll start to create a V shape in that. Now having a look at the edge of a piece of acrylic, that's the edge of the acrylic with the hole going through. You want to create that shape in the acrylic so that the screw, which is that shape, fits into the hole like so. Thus, once it's in, it will be flat on the surface. You won't be able to feel it when you run your finger over it. Okay. So let's say when you push this in, it doesn't sit higher than the surface sits high there. Once you finish using the countersink, that will be flat on the surface. You need to do all 4 of those. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you need to countersink all 4 of those. Once you've countersunk all 4, I would advise, here's one that I've done earlier, if I can bring it into the shot, I would advise just putting a bit of masking tape over, put the screws in and put a bit of masking tape over all 4 screws so that you can, move these out of the way, so that you can pick it up, move it around and they don't fall out. Next, you need to use your needle file. Now the ones that we've got in the classroom are long and straight. This I use because I can get into corners. I'm using this one because I haven't got access to a long and straight one at the moment. What you need to do is make sure that these lines line up, and then on this piece, on the underside, so the opposite sides, you need to file backwards and forwards there and backwards and forwards there, so that when you put this in place, the wire coming from here, this wire here and this wire here, sit in a little groove there. Okay, so we've got that filed out. If you can see the groove here and here. When we turn it over, the groove is on the bottom, under there and under there. The next piece you want is the same shape piece that goes on there, and you need to put a groove in this one as well, but you need to put it across the top. So we just rest it on, so we know where the top is. Take it off, run the groove in, okay, nice and gently, have a look. If there's a nice groove in there, that will then sit on there. Now that piece is for this contacting wire to sit in between the two batteries. Once we've done that far, we're ready to assemble. So we take this off and take this off so it's flat on the table in front of you. Our vision panel is nearly dry. Let's just wipe some of the liquid off. Vision panel is nearly dry, but that's the last piece that goes in anyway. So here we go. We've got this piece with the screws, just masking taped it in. Notice that they were quite loose in the hole, which is what we want. We then find our circuit board, printed circuit board. Now what I've done is here you've got a resistor on top of the board and also nothing this side, so when it sits in the board it will twist. What I've done, I don't know whether you can see, is an old resistor head I've put in a piece of masking tape, and I'll stick it to the bottom of there and just wrap it around so that when it goes in, the height of this point here and the height of this point here are the same, so it won't rock or stand at an angle. That's there. All it is to be used as a spacer. Now we turn this upside down, and because we've sellotape or masking tape these screws down, we can move it around. Okay. We place that in place like that. We also, you'll notice that I've marked a negative and a positive for when we put the batteries in. Make sure you know which one's negative, positive. Negative, when I turn it over, is this one here. So we place that in place there, making sure that we're in the hole. Good. Now, the one that we've got the two grooves out of here, you can see the two grooves are out, we place over it, which will then trap the two wires in place. They've gone under the groove and trapped in place. This here, there's a hole all the way through, so that hole all the way through needs to line up. We've got that good. Okay. This one now has got the groove on the top. Can you see the groove on the top there? And the hole lining up there. Slots just over those comfortably. Good, okay. And they're all lining up. Okay. Now, next thing is, can we remember what side the negative and what side the positive is? I'm pretty sure that this is the negative, but to make sure, because I marked it on there, you can't see through that plastic, but I can. There's a positive and a negative there on the circuit board. I marked it, and I would advise you do the same. So this side is the negative side. So the negative of the battery is the bit that raises up just slightly there. That's the negative, and actually on these button batteries you'll see there's a positive sign, so that's the positive. So on one side the positive pushes down, and on the other side the negative pushes down. This is now where this wire comes in to play. What you need to do is the same as you did with the other one, the other wire, and that is wrap it round a screwdriver or a pencil, and again let's cut a bit of that wire off, and again the other side, wrap it round a screwdriver or a pencil, so you've sort of got a pair of glasses. Use your long nose pliers just to tighten that up just a little bit. Okay, just tighten that up a little bit, so it looks a bit like that. Now you've got a groove in there between the two. You can pick it up with the long nose pliers if you wish to, and just place it down between the two. Test that it works. I'm pushing the button through the weight of my finger through the PCB onto the table there, so we know that it works. Okay. That's nice and in place there. By the time you've done this, that was nice and in place there. By the time that you've done this, you'll find that this piece here is nice and dry. The vision panel is not going to pop out, and we place that over the screws or onto the screws like so. Now that is not finished yet. We need to turn it over and we need to remove that and screw that down. Try not to press the button when you do it, it doesn't really matter if you do. We screw that into place like so. We can remove that masking tape. We come around to the next one and we screw this into place. Because just remember, if you've seen the 2D design tutorial, the screw holes in the vision panel one are smaller so that you can screw it into place. Take these off now because they're not going anywhere. I might as well take that one off as well because it's not really going anywhere now. And screw this nice and tightly into place. I didn't quite give my vision panel enough time to dry, so it's sort of falling out in my hand, but you will give it enough time to dry. This has taken about 10 minutes to assemble. The vision panel needed about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to completely dry, but by the time you've got around to it, it will be dry. So the vision panel is there, on there, nice. It should be nicely in place, nice and dry. There's your torch. There we go, and behind the vision panel you can place your